everybody, and welcome to another episode of the C+ podcast featuring Hex and Shin. As always, my name is Shogun Shin. I almost said my name is Hex Ginkgo, and I am joined with my co-host Hex Ginkgo. As per usual, this is a variety podcast where Hex and I talk about whatever we want, however we want. And I'll be honest, not a whole lot has happened in the past couple weeks, but that being said, Hex, the first order of business that I want to talk to you about is, I started watching clips of an old cartoon called Static Shock, in which I don't know if you remember.
Static Shock is the shit.
Dude, Static Shock's such a good show.
I actually watched the spin-off of that show.
There's a spin-off?
Yeah, it's called the Zeta Project.
Interesting. Is it good?
It's like, it's okay. It only had like one. Did you ever watch the like Disney cartoons, like The Little Mermaid or the Aladdin show? It was like a step below good animation.
No.
That's essentially what the Zeta Project was.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that at all. Alright, well, anyways, I started watching, I've been watching clips of that, and I didn't realize, but like, Static Shock talks about like a lot of really heavy stuff. Yeah. Like, I think the clip that most people I think would notice or know about is the clip of Richie, which is Virgil's best friend.
His best friend.
Yeah, the clip is like his dad is like super racist, like low key, high key racist. Yeah. That's the clip that most people know about. But then I like went down the rabbit hole and started watching a bunch of other clips. And like there's one that's about like school shootings of like a kid gets bullied, and so he steals his dad's gun and like accidentally shoots Richie in the leg. And so it's like it talks about like counseling and like it's all about like Virgil like dealing with that guilt of like not being able to like not getting there in time and like not being able to help out and stuff like that. Like it talks about some like really fucking heavy stuff. And then like I do remember one episode, I think it was like Christmas, it was like a Christmas episode, and it's about this girl, she gets powers, but she's homeless, and so it talks about like her struggle as like a homeless kid, and like how it's like people look at us but they don't actually look at us because we're homeless and we're different, and it's like really sad. And it's like, Jesus, Static Shock talked about like a lot of really wild things, like real shit. So that was cool that I was seeing that again. I kind of want to watch the seasons again because they're really interesting. But that's not the main thing that I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is, this is an idea that I've had for a while, and I've always kind of like held off because we've always had other stuff to talk about. But this is an idea that I had. So something that people may or may not know about me is that I love drama. I'm not a dramatic person, but I love watching it happen, and I love hate drama. I love watching drama. When people are like, oh, like this and that and blah 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 this blah blah, then like I shouldn't do that. I'm like, oh, you should. You absolutely should. Oh yeah, no. Because I want to watch it happen.
People crash and burn.
I want to see it happen.
I hate hearing about it.
Oh, I love hearing about it because I'm the devil on everyone's shoulders being like, hey, you know that thing that you shouldn't do because it's dumb? You should definitely do it because it would be awesome. And I want to and I need something to enjoy my popcorn with.
You are the Palpatine in everybody's ear.
Absolutely, 100%. But so, I thought it'd be fun to, I went onto the subreddit, Am I the Asshole? And I thought it'd be fun to read a couple posts and talk about them. I have a list of, I want to say, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 posts here. We're obviously not going to get to all of them, but I want this to be a regular thing that not a regular thing, but like a somewhat regular thing that we do when we don't have things to talk about. And I think this is the perfect time to do it. So we're gonna start things off with, okay, we're gonna start, this is one of them that I kind of relate to personally, because it's a similar thing happened to me in college. But the title is, Am I the Asshole for blowing up my roommate/ex's phone when he borrowed my car to meet a girl? My ex, 29 male, and I, 26 female, unfortunately have to board together due to living in an expensive city. We've had a mostly cordial relationship as exes, but a major point of contention has been my car. I got a loan for it through a dealership, and he co-signed the lease. I've been paying way too much a month on it due to my poor credit score, but point being is that I make all the payments on it, I make all the appointments for it, etc. Now, he has a job from home and makes pretty good money, and he has a nice savings from getting 700 plus per week and from 700 plus per week from employment during COVID last summer. I was walking by him the other day while he was on his phone, and I saw the number 5,200 in his savings, and I know he's got a couple grand in cryptocurrency. So I know he can afford to get his own car, but he just refuses. I've talked to him about how we can get a second vehicle so that I can have a car for work. I have to travel during work hours and absolutely need my car, or I cannot perform my duties. He just pretends to agree with what I'm saying and changes the subject. So, fast forward to a couple nights ago. He met a girl and asked if he could use my car to meet up with her. I said sure, but I need to be at work at 7:30 a.m., which he knows this. I go to bed, woke up around 2:30 a.m., and he still wasn't back. Edit, I first texted him, when are you going to be back, and he didn't respond, so I called him and he ignored my call. I blew up his phone because he wasn't answering me. He finally picked up and told me, oh, I'll be back soon. I decided to wait up because I didn't want to be blindsided by waking up to leave for work and not having my car. At 3:30 a.m., I started blowing up his phone again, and he was ignoring me, so I told him that if he wasn't back with my car by 4, I would report it stolen. He called me an asshole and accused me of being jealous. I've had a casual BF for 2 months that I really like, so no thanks. Long story long, am I the asshole?
No.
I
I
would say yes and no. I think
Yeah.
At 2:30 and at 3:30 messaging someone, that's insane hours. Like, sure, you gotta be at work at 7:30, but like, that's insane hours to be where's my car?
Insane. I would be freaking out the whole night of like, hey, where's my...
Yeah, well,
like,
yeah, of course.
If it was me, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna stay up to make sure that it gets here. Because if it doesn't get here by the time I wake up, I'm gonna have issues.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I think
that's the only part that even remotely seems like an asshole thing, is like waiting by the window to check. But it's like justified.
Yeah, but it's justified because I mean it's essentially, I mean, sure, they technically co-own the car, but like at the same time that's her car, like 100%. I actually, in college, I lived in a house my junior and senior year, and I had a roommate. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm just gonna say his name. We're gonna call him K. All right. And Kay had a girlfriend. I'm definitely gonna say her name. Her name was Julie, and she was a bitch. I hate her with a passion because she is not a nice person. But so Kay lived with me in my house, and Julie lived, I would say she lived about 10-15 minutes away. Like, she still she lived off campus, but she lived in an apartment complex like a little ways away from us. And Julie had a car, but Kay did not have a car. Now I had a car, and occasionally Kay would ask me if he could borrow my car, and so he could go see Julie. And like sometimes he would ask me like in the dead of night too, and I'm just like, no. Now I will admit that looking back on it, he could have definitely used my car because I usually walked to class, so I didn't normally need to drive anywhere. But at the same time, like, I liked having my car because one, it was my car, and then two, I'm like, Julie has a car that she can pick you up in. Like, I don't know why you need to like, you need to drive there when she should be, in my opinion, I think she should be picking you up. Like, you're dating each other. Like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. I kind of actually had something similar to that in a relationship that I had. I had a girlfriend who had her own car. I did not have a car, and she knew this. So, like, before it's like, oh, you're an asshole. Why didn't you just go to her? I couldn't.
You couldn't, yeah.
Because I didn't have a car. Granted, I was 19, like I should have. I just never had the need to go get a car or a license.
It's fair enough.
But anyway, so my girlfriend was like, well, you're gonna need to get a ride. And I'm like, fucking a ride?
Wait, she didn't offer to, like, give you a ride?
Not every time.
Okay,
like,
sure, I guess.
And, like, I understand not wanting to have
Yeah.
to pick me up every time. Like,
Sure.
I'm not upset about that. It's like, my ride was my grandma. Who is, like,
awesome.
60. And granted,
Amazing.
my grandma is awesome. She practically raised me because my mom was never around. So, like, when I say, oh yeah, my grandma took me, it's like, no, I mean that in a good way. Like, I have a very good relationship with my grandma. Not like, ew, no, I had to make grandma take me. Dude, my grandma took me on so many dates. It was fucking awesome.
Amazing. That's so wholesome.
Dude, it was the best. Anyway, yeah, so, like, I got in lots of arguments with this girl because she's like, well, why can't you just get a car? Why can't you just, like, figure something out? And I'm like, you know, I'm actually trying. I really am. But, yeah, we had a lot of arguments. I'm like, or you could not make a 65-year-old lady come get me.
Yeah, that's like kind of messed up. Of like, she like, so you would spend the night, I would assume, at her place, and then she would make you.
Not all the time.
Okay, well, sure, yeah, but then she wouldn't even like offer to like drive you back.
Sometimes. This wasn't in every occurrence, but sometimes it would be like, hey, my parents all of a sudden decided that you can't stay here tonight, and so you're gonna need to get a ride. And I'm like, it's 11:30.
I don't like that. That's
And
like,
I'm 40 minutes away.
Yeah, that makes me mad. I'm
my
like,
house.
that's so shitty. That's so awful.
It was.
That's fucking terrible. Jesus.
Yeah, I love my grandma, and she went through way more shit than I should have put her through because of. Ooh, I got 3 people stacked on me, and there was nowhere I could move.
Feels bad.
Yeah. All right, more asshole stuff.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's gonna have to wait a hot second while we go through this fight, because I'm a little busy right now.
Okay. All right.
I think you were just low, to be completely honest. I tried healing you.
I thought it was full health.
Maybe. You're really close, though. You're really close to where the shockwave happens, is the thing. That's the problem.
I was just outside of the ring. I'm gonna wait. Nah.
Yeah, you wait.
It's not gonna matter.
Just wait.
Nah, I'm up. I'm up.
Well, doing this now. Alright. But I do, before we get to more asshole stuff, I do want to talk about this more so, because I'm not gonna defend my actions just because of, I am partially in the wrong, because I definitely know that, we banned Kay and Julie from staying at our house, primarily
Even though he was your roommate?
Yeah, well, okay, here's the thing, is that this was not like a one every occasional thing. Like, Kay would constantly ask if he could borrow my car to go see Julie, and so that kind of bothered me. That at no point did Julie offer to like pick him up to like go, and I'm like, and then also I chauffeured Kay and Julie everywhere, like constantly. Like I was constantly having to chauffeur them to places. There was one point that I even took them to Walmart so they could buy condoms. I had to stand there for, I think, like 15 minutes, and I had to listen to them talk about what kind of condoms they should buy. And, like, Kay would, like, pick one out, and I literally heard Julie go one time, like, no, not those ones, those ones hurt me. And I'm like, this is information that I don't need to know at 11 o'clock at night. I have class tomorrow.
I don't think I've ever had a girl know that a specific condom hurt them?
I knew a girl, but I was not the one using them. But so yeah, I was constantly having to like take them places, and like Julie had a truck, but like her truck was like kind of shitty. I won't lie. Like her truck was kind of bad, but at the same time, I'm just like, girl, he's your boyfriend. You should be doing this shit. Why do I have to do this shit?
This is not my responsibility.
But yeah, this is absolutely not my responsibility. And I'm just like, what the hell? Now, could I have been nicer? Absolutely, I could have. Was I nicer? Absolutely not. I will freely admit that fact of like, I could have been nicer, but at the same time, like, yeah. I recognize the toxicity, and I'm like, I'm not here for it. I'm absolutely not here for it.
Well, in terms of are you the asshole, I don't think so.
I would say I am, but at the same time, I'm not. It's just a yes or no thing.
It's one of those things where it's like, you're justified, though.
Yeah.
So you're not, like, being a dick for the sake of being a dick. It's like, no, you have every reason to be upset.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. Like, when it comes to these like, hypothetical, or these posed questions, it's like, you may feel like an asshole because, like, it's kind of a dick thing to do, but when are you, like, not justified in those actions? If you are completely not justified, then yeah, you're being.
Yeah.
Maybe it's funny. So.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, why did I walk away? Oh, I did walk away. I did walk away. At one point, I definitely was like, yeah, we are not doing this anymore, and neither of you are ever allowed to touch my car. And so then at that point, like, Kay started borrowing Julie's car. And just leaving it at our house, so that way he could go to... Because Julie technically didn't need the car, for the most part. Because I think she rode the bus. I think what would happen is... typically, Kay stayed at Julie's apartment. So he wasn't usually in the house. And so, to go to class, though, he would just drive her to class in the morning. And then just come back home. Because I think he had different schedules and whatnot. But no, there's after a little while, I was like, yeah, we're definitely not doing this anymore. She's like, you can't have my car because I need it, and then also no, I'm not doing this anymore. There are like a myriad of stories that I could talk about with this dynamic that I have in college, and looking back on them, they're funny, but at the same time, they're like kind of sad. But at the same time, I look back at them and I go, nah. You know, I have zero regrets about it, honestly. I'm kind of like, whatever. Okay, next one. Am I the asshole for not punishing my daughter? Am I the asshole after not punishing my daughter after she refused to watch her cousin and something bad happened? My sister
has... Watch her cousin?
Watched, yes.
Okay,
like,
I thought you said watch it first.
No, watched. Alright. My daughter has a 1.5-year-old cousin. Ever since he was born, she tried to get my 14-year-old daughter to babysit as she wants them to be close even though they're so far apart in age. My daughter has declined as she doesn't want the responsibility of someone else's kid, especially if something were to go wrong. My sister doesn't get it despite multiple people, myself and my daughter included, telling her. Yesterday, we were at our parents' house for a barbecue. It was mostly adults with a few children varying in ages, but my nephew was the youngest. All throughout the barbecue, my sister kept trying to get my daughter to hold him or feed him, which my daughter declined. At one point, I went in the house to help my aunt and mom with drinks and sides. 15 minutes later, I hear my sister shrieking. I rush outside and she's holding her baby whose face is bleeding. Her husband is nearby, trying to take the baby to administer first aid. My sister is shrieking at my daughter to put her damn phone down, and you're in a lot of trouble. My daughter looks terrified. Finally, brother-in-law takes the baby and goes to tend to him. I get both sides. My sister went inside to pee, asking my daughter to watch her son. My daughter said, no, ask your husband. My sister says she told her to just help out and it won't kill you. My daughter flat out told her no, and my sister left knowing daughter was looking at her phone. The yard was filled with adults, all of whom they were keeping an eye on the little one, but at some point they lost track. My parents have concrete steps leading to their backyard. Somehow the nephew tried to walk up them, tripped and scratched his face. He was fine in the end, just a few scrapes. My sister kept demanding I take my daughter's phone and asked what I'd do to punish her. I said nothing because she said she wasn't watching her cousin, and there were half a dozen... Hold on. Oh, God. Give me a second. Mechanics. All right. My sister kept demanding I take my daughter's phone and asked what I'd do to punish her. I said nothing because she said she wasn't watching her cousin, and there were half a dozen adults who should have been watching him, specifically his father. Brother-in-law even admits that it's on him and he screwed up, but my sister kept blaming my daughter. We left right then, and I told my daughter several times in front of the family and alone that it's not her fault. My sister is still mad at me, and my mom says I should have daughter apologize. I said no, she did nothing wrong. My mom says that it wouldn't have killed my daughter to watch him for 2 seconds. Am I being an ass?
The daughter is in the wrong. Like, not
really.
Completely. No. Like the daughter could have easily watched it. It's
sure.
not her responsibility, but the daughter could have watched the kid. I don't think the mom is wrong, like, at all. Like, there are half a dozen adults who are more, are like more qualified to take care of a kid, like, having been in a similar situation. Like, not that I never wanted to be close to my cousin. I don't like children at all. I really hate children.
Makes sense, sure.
So it took me a very, very long time to even hold my cousin. Oh shit.
I still have not held my cousin, actually. My eldest cousin actually just had a kid, and everyone in my family has held him, and I have not. I make it a point not to do it.
For me, like, it is, I don't like kids, but it's also, I don't want to break.
You won't want to what?
Like, I don't want to break it. I don't want to be
where I'm at.
The one
Dude, that's where I'm at.
For something bad
Absolutely, 100%. That's exactly where I'm at. I'm just like, nah, I don't want to be liable for anything that goes wrong.
Yeah, that's really all it is.
Yeah, and family would be like, oh, nothing's going to go wrong. I'm like, you don't know that. You don't know that.
You'll be fine. Yeah, but I've never done this before.
Yeah. Like, it's my favorite thing that I learned in driver's ed was the loaded gun theory of if you're holding a gun, who's not getting shot? Let's say it's like you. Let's okay. Assume it's you and 3 other people are in a room. Okay, you are holding a gun, and everyone else is not. Who is not gonna get shot?
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
All right, let me rephrase the question. Who is most likely not going to get shot?
The person holding the gun?
Exactly. So I'm like, so for me, my family's like, oh, you should hold your cousin. I go, no, because I can make sure that if I'm not holding him, then I know that I am not liable for anything that goes wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Like, I might not fuck up now, but I'll fuck up later.
Yeah, I'll probably fuck up later.
I'll definitely fuck up later.
It's not a question of how, it's a question of when.
Yeah, it is absolutely a question. Yeah, but when is it gonna happen? Because I don't want that to happen right now.
I would say, I honestly would say that I don't really think that the daughter is all that at fault. Like, maybe, sure, a little bit, but at the same time, like, she openly said, I'm not going to watch him. Like, she bowed out. She's like, no, I'm not doing this. And there are a multitude of other adults
just
there
upset.
that should, yeah. I think the sister-in-law is definitely just upset. And I'm like, no, this, like, sure, she's upset, but I'm not saying, at the same time, I'm like, your opinion doesn't matter. Go away. Nobody likes you, Karen.
Yeah.
Go away.
That is 110%. It's just a Karen moment. Like, you have to watch my daughter because or son, whatever, my child, because I want for you to like my child.
Yeah,
and my
it's
child
just like,
to like,
no.
It's like,
and also there are a multitude of other ways that you could have them, like, get along. Like, honestly, the kid's I think 1.5. Yeah, like, there are a myriad of things that eventually they could do. That's like, nah, man. That's ridiculous. I will say props to the brother-in-law, because he's like, you know what? It was definitely, like, I'm at fault. My fault. I should have been watching. It's on me. And I'm like, props to you. You could have gone with your spouse and be like, nah, fuck that. And I'm like, but you know what? You are an upstanding person. Respect.
No, it's my kid.
Yeah.
Like that would be my reaction. Like I would probably initially be upset. It's like why was no one watching? Like I would be upset about that. Like, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, was I paying attention either? So like,
yeah,
is anybody really at fault here?
Yeah, I think that's my biggest problem is that I don't like that the sister-in-law, that the sister is just like immediately just like, oh, it's the daughter's fault, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, no, there are multiple people at fault, but you're choosing just to blame her, which is like not okay.
Because you're offended that she doesn't want to spend time with your kid.
Yeah.
Like, chill out.
Right? It's just like, all right, sit down. Sit down. You don't get an opinion anymore.
Not everyone likes children, and that's okay. I want kids, but I don't want kids.
Same.
I want to have a family, but I really hate children.
Yeah, eventually I would love to have kids, but right now I'm just like, nah, they anger me.
In my ideal world, friggin', I would be able to get married and have a kid and then disappear for like 10 years and then come back.
Okay.
I have already talked to Emily about that. It's not gonna happen. But I wish it...
I feel like there are a couple of institutions that would not be a fan of that.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying, like, I wouldn't, like, give them money and help. But, like, I just like, call me when the kid can have a conversation. Because I don't want to deal with all the other
That's
stuff.
fair.
And it's not like I don't want to help with...
Yeah, like, you would help in other ways. You just wouldn't be there for the early stuff.
Yeah, I can't do children. I'm not... I can't do the baby voice. I can't do that. Like... I'm just not a child person.
I treat babies like I treat puppies. Like, that's how I see them. I see them as just...
Oh, it's cute. Get it away from me.
Exactly, yeah. I'm like... That's how I treat them. Alright, next one while we're in transitioning. Am I the asshole? I kicked my husband's sister and her daughter out of my mother's funeral. That's the title, by the way.
Okay, the title alone, I'm gonna say no.
Alright. My mother passed 20 days ago. I'm a mess and I can barely keep up with my work, as well as taking care of my younger sisters who are heavily grieving. Before I talk about what went down at the funeral, I'll talk about my husband's older sister, 44. She's like a mother to him. His mother died when he was 8, so his sister basically raised him. Me and her don't agree on many things. She can be disrespectful and rude, she tries to boss me around, and gets involved in my marriage a lot. She has a daughter, niece, that she uses or trains to do nasty things to me, like when she had our daughter ruin my car paint, or when she had her hide my jewelry, or when she caused me an argument with my husband by lying.
And I'm dead again.
Saying I banned her from her uncle's house. She's 17, so at this point she's not a kid and should be aware of her mother is doing, but they both equally disrespect me, and I'm not surprised. My sister-in-law came to my mother's funeral and brought her daughter, who was wearing inappropriate outfit and kept acting mean while me and my sisters were crying. I remember sister-in-law was sitting loudly, laughing with her daughter and playing with their phones, and then both started eating during the burial service. I was getting mad, but I ignored them until my niece's phone started playing the ding dong, the witch is dead. My sisters heard it several times. I walked up to her to ask about it, and she said it was just a ringtone. I asked her if she thought this was if this was appropriate, but my sister-in-law got involved and told me it was no big deal, then asked me for a charger so they could finish the video they were watching. I kid you not, I absolutely lost it on both of them. I yelled at my sister-in-law to take her daughter and leave. My brother-in-law, her husband, came to talk to me, but I blatantly told him to take his family and leave. And where's my husband? Sitting watching while I argued with almost his entire family as they tried to get me to let it go. I refused to let them stay for a minute and demanded they leave or get security involved. That's when my husband got involved. I told him he could leave too if he kept defending them. They left and everyone was watching, so I felt so awful. And when I returned to my mother's house, my husband started arguing, saying that his niece is a kid and whatever she did, I should have discussed this issue privately, not make a joke out of them and kicking his sister out. Then threatened to kick him out as well in front of everyone. He said I was looking for an excuse to disrespect his sister and his niece, and what better excuse than my mother's funeral, right? That's what he said. He said I was at fault here to think that I could mistreat his sister and niece and kick them out, and then expect to get a free pass because my mother is dead. Basically claiming I messed up and ruined my own mother's funeral. He called me a piece of work, then headed out.
Okay, it sounds like she just needs to get divorced and get away from that whole...
There's a lot to unpack there.
He needs to get divorced and get away from that whole family because, goddamn, that...
Right?
No.
That's insane.
Like, the husband is in the wrong, the mother and the daughter are in the wrong, like, holy shit.
Right? That's like, it's insanity of like, what the actual hell? It, for those of you who don't know, I lost my grandfather, back in mid-April. And we had a funeral, obviously, and I had someone like that come to my grandfather's, like, even just my grandfather's funeral. Oh, I'd be throwing hands, 100%.
Yeah.
I would be, like, balls to the wall. There are about to be 2 funerals here. Like, a 100%. Like, that's insane. Like, also, that's just so disrespectful in general. Like, just as a general thing.
Why
like,
did the sister-in-law and the daughter of the sister-in-law even go?
Right? Exactly. Like, yeah, why even go at that point, honestly? I mean, like, who knows? They're even, like, maybe they're specifically trying to troll the shit out of the OP. Like, maybe that's just their goal. But even still, sitting in the shoes of the husband, like, I kind of get it. Like, sure, you, like, the sister-in-law is like a mother to him because he lost his, and like she raised him, you know, throughout his childhood for the most part, and that's fine. That's all well and dandy. But at the same time, like, dude, you gotta look at this objectively, man. Like, how can you... I'm shocked that he's like, oh, like, just because your mom's dead, like, I can't believe you can act this way. Like, what?
That is crazy.
What?
Like, you should more than assume that your wife is probably gonna have your back, and has probably had your back without knowing it for a while. So... maybe just shut up.
Yeah, maybe, like, just not be in this one. Like, that, yeah, that's so insane to me.
People are weird, man.
People are
no, she is
yeah.
Like, as soon as funeral comes up and getting kicked out of a funeral, if you're the one getting kicked out of the funeral, you're the asshole.
Yeah,
if you're not the one getting kicked out of the funeral... Wait, which direction?
Forward. Yeah, I mean, like, that's just so... it's like, it's so hard for me to wrap my brain around it. Like, truly. I'm just kind of like, I look at it and I'm like, there are people that are like this in the real world. Like, those are real people with real lives, and I'm like, how?
How do you exist? How do you, like, let yourself...
Yeah.
That blows my mind too, all the time.
Yeah, and like the daughter being like a shitty 17-year-old, like, what the hell, man? Like, that's also fucked up. Like, really?
Like, if you don't want to be there, then fucking don't be there.
Yeah, I mean,
but like don't make a bad situation worse.
Yeah, but even still, it's like, you could have, like, easily just not. You could have, like, hung outside or something, or just, like, be away from them. Like, there are so many things that you could have easily done instead, but they chose to do this.
Oh, you don't like them? Okay, then go elsewhere.
Yeah. But instead, no, you choose to be a problem. You chose violence.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, and then it's just like, oh, well, it's like, I can't believe that, I can't believe I got in trouble. Well, yeah, no shit, you got in trouble.
Oh man, your actions have me out for being horrible. How often does that happen? Pretty regularly. Why?
It's so weird. It's such an odd phenomenon.
Weirdly telling that.
Yeah. That kid is gonna grow up into not being a great person, and that's really unfortunate, honestly. Like, that's some
I mean,
sad
and it doesn't
right
sound
there.
like the role model is going to even remotely try to help.
Yeah.
Or the person who should be. That's just always upsetting. It's the worst when the parent is equally as horrible.
Yeah.
Just like, really? It's one thing when a parent just has a child that they can't control. Like, not that a parent should control their child, but like can't
discipline,
guide them in a way that makes them a not shitty person.
Yeah.
Did we? Okay,
we're good.
All
right. All right. Next one is Am I the asshole for calling my ex-wife delusional because of her ridiculous request? This one I think is really interesting, actually. It's kind of clear. Like, a lot of these are fairly clear cut of like yes, no. This is also one of them, but at the same time, like, this one's very interesting. All right. My son has a best friend,
Adrian. Single Archer thing, then I get it. But, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, it's okay.
I haven't seen a single thing.
You gotta get it now. Alright, my son has a best friend, Adrian, whom he's very close to since 6th grade. Both boys are 16. Adrian does not have the best home life. Father is long gone, and his mother is a regular drug user who's gone majority of the time. Back then, he'd be over all the time for dinner, and we always made sure he had food to take home with him. The situation got worse when schools decided to switch to online, and so I invited him to move in with me in April of last year. He's always been a good kid, so having him here is a delight. My son loves that his best friend practically lives with us now, and we've agreed that this can remain permanent until he moves out if that's what he would like. With Adrian, we've agreed that With Adrian here, my son has wanted to stay here more and more. My ex-wife and I have joint custody, 1 week with her and then the next with me. He's begged my ex a few times to let him stay here a few extra days, and sometimes he agrees. But I can tell this bothers her, so I've told my son he needs to spend time with his mom too, and Adrian will be here when he comes back. Besides, it's not like they can't chat or see each other for a whole week. My son has started asking if it would be possible to stay here during the week and then go with his mom weekends. My ex was told about this, and she's pissed at me. Firstly, she accused me of only inviting Adrian to move in with me to make my son want to stay there more, and second, she asked that I have Adrian move back to his mom because it's unfair to use him as an advantage. Just the ridiculousness of it all made me laugh over the phone because no, I am not sending a kid back to their drug addict mother who doesn't even care that he's not there right now. I called her delusional for even thinking this was done to get some sort of brownie points for my son to make him want to stay here, and she's just plain crazy if she really thinks I'd go along with a request like that. So now I'm being called a jackass for insulting her when she has every right to feel that I'm using this against her. I don't see how, but that's her point of view. She's definitely mad at me over it, so I'd like to know if calling her names was taking things too far.
No.
I would also agree, no.
That, that just means that she is wildly insecure. Like, yeah, I get it, you have joint custody, and that does mean something, and one parent, if not both parents, are always going to be worried, like, does my child love me, and, like, am I enough, and, because it's not, like, while the child is the most important thing, like, everybody is a human, and everybody feels, hurt, and doubt, and, jealousy and stuff.
What I don't like is that it's almost like she thinks of it as, like, a competition.
That's what I mean. It's like, in almost every scenario that I've ever seen where two parents are divorced, like, that is super common, and it sucks because it's like you're fighting each other for your child, but you're not thinking about your child. You're literally just thinking about you, like, more often than not. If it's like the fighting is what separated you guys in the first place, and being separated doesn't help your kid.
Yeah.
So, like, no matter what it is, it's selfish. And, like, in his case, it's like he's not only is he, trying to do everything he can for his son, he's trying to do everything he can for his son's best friend, essentially a surrogate, And like, it sucks that the mom feels like left out essentially, but that happens all the time. Like, kids will eventually just decide one way or the other, and most of the time when that happens, like, courts will just be like, well, the kid wants to stay there.
And I mean, but at the same time, I don't think the kid, I don't think the kid is like, no, I love mommy more, you know? I don't think it's gonna be like that. Because I think the mother is worried like, oh, my kid's gonna love the dad more, and so I'm not gonna see my kid anymore. Like, I don't think that's gonna be true at all.
No, being there is going to be more enjoyable solely because the best friend is there.
Yeah.
But that's like, you're really like, the other thing is, on top of like sounding like a horrible human being for even remotely suggesting, just send the kid home.
Like, what?
It's also like, you are willing to make your own child unhappy because you feel insecure.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not even just that. It's not even that. It's like, you're willing to sacrifice the well-being of another person's child just so that way you can, quote unquote, be a better mom.
Yeah. Like, in all honesty, if you really wanted to be a good parent, you, in my eyes, would just support it and be like, hey, like, if you want to see your friend on the days that, you know, you're not here, bring him with.
You're right. That's what I was gonna say. It's like, just like, I don't know the logistics, but like, I'm sure both boys could just go there.
Well, like, I mean, and like, if the dad is spending all this money and time taking care of the kid, just be like, hey, is there any way that you could help me take care of him? I don't have the amount, like, the funds to be able to take care of 2 kids. I only signed up for taking care of 1. That's a whole different story than, just send the child back to his really shitty home.
Yeah.
Like, and then, like, not only are you taking your son's best friend away from him, you're like, so that's gonna make him feel like shit. But like, I'm sure that the son has an idea of what the home life is like, and that's gonna make him feel even worse.
Yeah.
Like, it's multifaceted.
Yeah, and I feel like if I mean, they're both 16, so I mean, they're both teenagers, and they can think for themselves.
Both have a
part.
decent understanding.
Yeah. I feel like if I would bet that the son probably doesn't know about this, like, most likely. And I feel like if he found out that the mom was like suggesting something like this, that would, honestly, I think that would just make him resent her, like,
oh yeah, 100%,
like, so much, to a point
100%.
Where it's like, there's
if that
no
was
recovery.
One of my parents, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna stick with the one that's not trying to like be a huge dick.
Like, like, that's insane. And I'm like, it's unfortunate because it's like, the mom wants to be a good mom, quote unquote, or like wants to be the best, I guess, from what it sounds like. But you're just shooting yourself in the foot the entire time, and it's like, what are you doing?
I mean, and like, once they're 18, they get to definitively get to decide where they're going to be.
Yeah, that's 2 more years right there. Like,
yeah, it sucks, but at a certain point, take the time that you can get, and don't make it worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Depending on how long you've been separated, like, it's not been easy. At the end of the day, it's just about your kid, because if you have no intention of getting back together, then your whole existence needs to be about making sure that your kid is as comfortable as humanly possible until they are able to make their next decisions in their lives. That is very important.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it sucks. And no parent ever wants to hear that or think that they are, like, less favorable to their kid. Like, but stop thinking about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It just sounds so selfish.
110%.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This entire raid, I have had to res this red mage, I think 5 times already.
Hey, I've died a
really
lot.
upset about it. Yeah, but like, you haven't died as much. Like, every time I look over, he's dead. You're still alive. So I'm just kind of like, why? Make it stop.
Please.
Like,
Please just be alive for like 5 seconds.
30 seconds. That's all I want. Like, please, come on. Do me a solid here.
Oh, shit!
Alright, when I'm not having to do mechanics, we'll get to the next one.
Okay.
The next one I haven't fully... I only read the title, and I'm like, this seems really interesting, so I want to know more about this. I don't actually know what this one's about. Before we get to that, actually, there is a post that I remember seeing way back when, and it was like, am I the asshole for deleting my kid's Minecraft world of like 3 years?
Yeah, I don't think that there's any case
Yeah.
where destroying something that your child made is okay.
Yeah.
Now, there are certain exceptions. Oh shit. That exception being like, is your child drawing Nazi propaganda? That's different. But like, at the same time, like, expression is important, and I'm not condoning. Like, I'm not saying, hey, expression is important. Don't. That's a whole different issue. But yeah, like sometimes, even if your kid is a problem child, passions are very important. Like what kids do is really important. And like, my dad would never like have ever destroyed anything.
Same.
Like,
I don't
he
think
loved that I did
my
art.
mom would never do something like that.
But yeah, like even if your kid is a dick, that is so not cool.
Dick. Yeah, I think if I remember, I don't quite remember the post because this was, I think, a year ago is when I read it. But I remember correctly, basically the TLDR was like, this mom has like 2 children. I want to say they're fairly young-ish. They're like, I want to say they're like 6 and 8, I want to say. But I guess one day they're like acting up, and they're typically good kids, like for the most part. They're typically really good kids. But one day they were just like acting up, and they did something. Like it was, but like I guess the mom like threatened to delete their Minecraft world, and then she just up and did it. I think actually, like, I think the kids like behaved eventually, but then she still did it anyways, or something like that. Yeah, like it was just like that's even worse because like you just did it without even there being an actual punishment.
Yeah, you're
like unnecessary.
Well, I know a lot of parents that are like, well, I have to follow through on my punishments, otherwise they're gonna think I'm a weak parent. It's like, no, they're gonna think that you're like reasonable.
A monster.
Well, like, yeah, if you follow through even after they did what you wanted, even if it was like later or whatever, like, yeah, they're gonna think you are a fucking monster. If you don't follow through, then they're gonna be like, hey, my parent is a reasonable human being, and you know, that is also really important.
Yeah.
Like understanding forgiveness, and like that is kind of like a mutual respect thing. Like, hey, thank you for listening to me, and respecting my wishes, and you know, all that. That's really important.
Yeah.
If I could really stop walking into these balls, that'd be fucking great.
Look, it's real gamer hours, man.
I'm doing a great job.
You're doing a great job. You're doing God's work right now.
I've died more this time than I think I've died in this raid.
Well,
ever.
I mean, it also doesn't help that one of your healers is a little distracted right now.
Fair enough.
Reading Reddit posts.
I am also distracted, but
one of your
still.
healers is a little busy.
Oh Lord.
Like, in all fairness.
Yeah, I just want to get this raid done with.
Yeah. I just want to.
I like it a lot. It's very pretty. The songs are great. I'm ready for it to be over.
Yeah. I mean, this is at least better than when we did it, what, Thursday? Or no, Monday?
Oh,
Tuesday?
God, I don't even
Tuesday.
want to talk about that.
That was a nightmare and a half.
Yeah.
That was an actual legitimate nightmare.
Oh, can we do it before the... Oh, yeah, we got it.
Oh, yeah, we're fine,
All right, what do we got? Hey, there we go. Do I take the legs or do I take the arms?
Okay. Well, you figure that out. I'll read the next one. All right. Would I be the asshole if I exposed a 70-year family secret? That's the title, and that's why it was like, ooh, tell me more. So, here's the post. I, 34 female, recently came to the realization after multiple ancestral genetic tests that my grandfather, deceased, was not the biological father of my dad, 69 male. He's been gone 20 plus years now, but grandma, 85 female, is still alive and well. Dad's bio father is also deceased, but I have found a person I am 99% sure is his half-sister, 50s female. Just 20 minutes away from us. There are at least 2 more siblings, and I think I found a third a few hours away. We were all very far from where they were born / where their families are from. Dad and Grandma have had a strained relationship for years. All of his siblings have. I think he should know the truth, and I have the chance to understand why my results came back with such a significant percentage of one particular ancestral region that we had no inclination of previously, as well as why he doesn't look like any of the rest of his siblings. He strongly resembles the newly assumed biofather. Mom, 61 female, has forbidden me from telling him, as he's just started to get back on speaking terms with my grandmother. With all the family tension, I know this information could stir up a lot of drama, but I think he has a right to know. I'm aware of the internal conflict it's going to cause when he finds out, but also what an amazing experience it could be to have that open up. Extra background info. I became vaguely aware around high school age of a sibling of mine having been adopted, but Mom didn't admit it till I was in my 20s. She denied it to my younger sister, now 31 female, and older half-brother, now 45 male, from Dad's first marriage, until I told her I was looking for him. When I thought I found him, now 38 male, several years later, she told me she knew where he was, always had, and he didn't want to be contacted. I respected that and dropped it. 6 months later, he was standing in her kitchen waiting to meet my children and I. I struggled for almost 15 years with the knowledge I had a brother out there. He was raised by an incredible couple who I am so thankful for, but I know he struggled a bit with the lack of knowledge for a time as well. She may be his wife, but Mom really doesn't know what it's like to question who is out there or where she came from, or to be confused about so much of what she believed to be her history, and I think I should tell Dad anyway. Would I be the asshole?
I don't think so.
Ooh. Wow. I think this is one of those situations where, like, it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets any better. Like, 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
okay,
boy,
so
howdy.
I kind of have some experience in this.
Okay.
Because I have siblings that I know exist, but I've never met. And they're not related to my dad. And my dad does not feel great about my siblings that I have. Like, he knows that they exist. And it's not that he doesn't like them, it's that he really doesn't like my mom. And, I do not blame him. My mom is a crazy person. Like, she is a crazy. Mom, if you're watching this, which I doubt, I know very little about you. But from what I know and what I've seen, holy shit. Anyway, that's all I can say. Yeah. So, I have done digging myself to try and find some some stuff, and apparently my younger half sister did too, because she had tried to find her older 3 brothers. I am the second oldest, so I have an older half brother, a younger half brother, and a younger half sister. As far as I know, that's it. And so I found out all of this, and I ended up like telling my dad, and he was upset, like, because he's like, he was hurt because he was like, so are you talking to your mom again? And I'm like, no. No. And because he always was worried, and he was worried that for some reason I would want to start talking to my mom. And it's like, I know, like, I appreciate what he did and all the things that he went through. And like, I don't blame him one bit, because fucking yikes. But it was kind of interesting, and like, in telling him that, there was kind of a weight lifted off of his shoulders, because he was like holding the secret back for a long time, or like he thought that he was holding this information from me, and he felt bad because he's like, I know I never told you much about your mom, but like, there's a reason why. And I'm like, yeah, I know the reason. We're cool. Like, I'm not upset. So yeah, no, I would say, as a person having something really similar, like, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah. And I think, like, yeah, I would also agree that, like, I think she should say something, because it's one of those questions, it's one of those things of just like, what if, man, like, straight up, what if, like, and then, like, to have such a, I don't even like such an opportunity like that, and to not capitalize on it is just kind of like, for better or for worse, like, I think it's always worth checking out, because you just never know. Like,
totally.
You really truly just never know, and like that can lead to so many new things.
Right.
And again, it's like, it's one of those things where it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets any better. And like, sure, their relationship, the guy and the mom's relationship was already strained enough, but I think, if anything, that might make it better. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like,
you never know.
Yeah. And I think to have the mindset of not rocking the boat, I can understand, but at the same time, it's like, I think it's worth it. Like, if your boat already kind of has holes in it, like, get a new boat.
Yeah, what is it really?
Like, what do you have to lose, honestly?
You're just upset about, potentially, it all comes down to, like, being selfish. It's like, well, I don't want him to find out because, I think it'll make him upset. It's like, you think it'll make him.
Yeah.
You don't want him to, like, sometimes it's better.
Sometimes better. All right. This next one I kind of have feelings about, but I also thought it was really, really interesting. Am I the asshole for not wanting to financially contribute at my dad's? A few months ago, I, male 16, got my first job at McDonald's. It was only going to be for a little bit. I just wanted to make some money so I can get a gift for my girlfriend on her birthday and take us out to somewhere to eat. But then I liked having money, so I stayed. Now my dad started asking me for money to help with the electricity bill and then for groceries. I gave him some, but then a month later he asked for it again, and this time also for the internet because I use it for school and so do my stepmom and my stepsister. Like, I gave him some, but I told him why he kept asking me for money when I'm not even there 100% of the time. He told me I'm working, so it's fair that I start contributing. When I told him I'd rather save my money since I don't go out or buy stuff anyways, he got mad at me because of all the stuff he's done for me, like paying for me to play baseball, my equipment, taking me out to eat, paying for my school, buying me clothes and stuff. It was awkward the rest of the time there. He just called me ungrateful and selfish when they do a lot for me and I won't even help with bills. Is he right? Am I being an asshole because I don't want to split my check for the bills?
Okay.
I would say no, because I think that's really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
Do you want me to explain my position first? You want?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. So, I think yes, but like, that's coming from someone with experience, like someone who is an adult. So, like, just because he's 16 doesn't mean he gets a free pass. Like, I will say, if I was 16 and in that same position, I would feel similar. But that doesn't make you not a dick. Like, that doesn't make you not the asshole. Like, depending on, maybe, like, the dad's approach could have been better, because as a person who had a very strained relationship with his dad, like, having your dad call you any sort of name, especially ungrateful, is really hard and hurtful when you only have one parent.
Yeah, I think any parent said that said is probably not great.
Yeah, but especially when you only have the one. Like, at least for me, was incredibly hard to hear. Anyway, like, I didn't get a job until I was 18. And, like, I didn't get a car until I was 19. Like, I just did stuff late because I didn't need to. And I know that had I gotten a job earlier, my dad would have wanted me. Or at least at certain points have been like, hey, can you give me some money? Like, not because, like, in terms of, like, earning my place in the house. You know, like, that's something that my dad has always impressioned upon me, is like, you have to, like, you have to do something. And that's very important. And I like, sure, it's a lesson that I think, yeah, sure, you know, is very important for people to have. And I also understand, like, hey, it's my money, I worked for it. But, like, children of parents will never understand what their parents have done for them, like, until they're parents. So it just seems like your parent is being overbearing, or expects too much from you, or, you know, just wants to ruin your day, or like, just. But a lot of the time, at least if the parent is trying to do the right thing, maybe they do need help, and they're too stubborn to say so, because, you know, a parent's never gonna want to tell their kid, hey, like, we're struggling and I need your help paying bills. Are you there? Oh, no, he's not there. He DC'd. Alright, I'm gonna keep going. I will hold off on my response for right now, so that I can more easily focus on this fight that I actually usually have problems with. I was about to be like, what fucking idiot has 6 Vuln stacks? It is Maxwell. The fact that he is still alive and at full health is actually really impressive. Hey, I managed to get 2 Vuln stacks, and now he's dead. Calling him out, and then I'm getting hit myself. Oh shit. I can't tell if, well, I mean, he's dead. He's like dead. I was like, maybe, oh shit. Maybe I'm the one who's having connection issues, but I don't think it's me. It's never me. Oh. Hello. Yeah, I figured as much. Oh, all of the audio's gone? Oh no. Okay. Unfortunate. Okay. I saw a Pokeball up there, and I thought it was somebody else earlier, and it might have been, but then I saw that you had one, and I was like, oh, he must have dropped. And then we got further into it, and I was like, what fucking idiot has 6 Vuln stacks? Oh, it's Maxwell. But the most impressive part was you were at full health. You had 6 Vuln stacks, but you were not dead. And I'm like, all right, I'm kind of impressed. Yeah, well. That's just gonna be a little more work for you, right? There you go. Oh, I bet. So what was the last thing that you heard? Okay.
Quick. Okay. Alright. Alright, I'm back now. We are good. I'm just gonna keep the audio that I have for stream because
Yeah, at this point.
I'm just like, yeah.
Audacity.
Just, yeah. I like, fuck Audacity now, unfortunately, but it is what it is. God, that sucks so bad.
Whatever.
Okay, so the last thing I heard was you were saying yeah, so you were saying that to hear a parent tell you that you're ungrateful, it does not feel great.
Yeah,
pretty much the last thing that I heard.
Okay, yeah, so I will say, like one of the, at least the instilling thing was all about like fuck. I'll just jump to the next point that I was gonna have, and that's like a parent never wants to have to say like, hey, I need help with the build, and because that's a really shitty feeling. And like, parents don't know everything either, and like maybe their approach will be bad, but you know, they're not always going to tell you when something is wrong, and you can't necessarily blame them. You're not going to know as a child, or you know, young adult, or whatever, that your parent is having issues, because they might not just confide in you like that, because they're like, hey, like, I have to be the parent and they have to be the kid, and I have to make sure that they're not worried, and, you know, all of this. And like instilling a sense of like, hey, this is really important, like in terms of like learning and becoming an adult. I have to agree with, you know, the parent. I don't know exactly what their approach was, and like, you have to be grateful of everything. I mean, you should, but you know, as a parent, it is their job to do their duty in being a parent and setting a good example and providing. But that's not easy for every parent. Like, it's not feasible for every single person. Some people just have a rough time. Some people get shafted, and it's completely out of their control. And, you know, it's, from the sound of it, like, the parent was able to provide fairly well. And it was probably like, hey, a little help would be nice. And, like, I can't fault the parent for feeling that way, you know?
Okay, that's fair. I'm of the mindset that I don't think the kid is the asshole for not wanting to have to pay. And it's primarily just because of I'm in kind of the boat of like I think the approach that the dad took is not okay. I think that's my biggest problem. I don't think there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, you know, since you're working now, you should maybe pay some, like, I think you should pay bills and stuff like that. Like, I get that. I totally get it. You know, some parents do that. Thankfully, my mom didn't do that, which is nice. But, like, I get it. You know, I definitely get it. At the same time, I don't think it's fair that the son, or that the kid should feel obligated to help out now. Just simply because, and I think it's because of the fact that, like, the dad's reasoning is, oh, just because you have a job now you have to support us now. You have to give back. I don't think that's fair, because I think it's perfectly reasonable for the kid to be like, no, you know, I got a job so that way I could save money up, you know, for whatever, whether it be to buy gifts for his girlfriend, or maybe he wants to move out sometime, or maybe he's saving up for college or something like that. Like, there are multiple reasons, and I don't think it's fair for a parent to be like, I've done all this stuff for you, now it's your job to take care of me. I don't think that's fair at all. To just be like, just because again, it's that whole being selfish thing of like, look at all the stuff that I did for you when you were growing up, now you have to take care of me. And it's like, no, you did that because that's your job as a parent. You didn't do this to, you know, eventually be like, oh, now I get a free ride and a personal butler to serve me.
Well, I will say one thing. The idea that a 16-year-old kid would be able to really pay the bills. Okay, I don't know who it was, but somebody essentially got me killed because they walked over me with their fucking AoE and forced me to have to move, and it got me killed. Anyway.
Could've just taken it.
I know. I didn't know how much damage it was going to do, and I don't think I was at full health. Anyway, so my dad, like... My dad, when I was young, didn't have, like, a ton of financial security. He's a single dad, and he had a decent job, but, like, it wasn't always enough to pay everything. And I knew that, because he used to have to, like, take $20 for gas money from my piggy bank. And I was, like, 10.
Yeah, I mean, asking your child, be like, hey, like, occasionally asking, like, hey, can you, like, I think if you give a child a reason as to, like, why you're doing something, I think that's fine. Like, I don't think there's and again, kids are smart. Like, they really are. Like, you tell a kid, like, hey, you know, we're kind of low on money, like, blah, 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 this, and, like, sure, it's embarrassing, but, like, if you tell a kid that, I would be hard-pressed to find a child that would be like, no, fuck that, fuck you, you're not my real dad, nah.
I mean, I have met kids.
I mean, yes, right. Yeah, I mean, obviously there are kids like that, but I think a good majority will be like, yeah, sure, it's fine. Like, my mom asks me, every once in a while, be like, hey, I need to take, you know, a couple $1,000s out of your bank account. Is that okay? And I'm like, sure, that's fine. What do you need it for? And she's like, I need it for this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, sure. And I'll give it back to you. You're like, you'll get it back. I'll refund you the money, you know, in like a couple weeks. I'm like, sure, that's fine. Totally cool. But I don't think it's, again, I really don't like how the dad in this post, like, handled the situation of like, oh, well, just because you have a job now you're automatically, you have to help us now. Like, okay, I think that's my biggest problem of like, well, it's like, because if that were me, I'm like, all right, fine, I quit, I don't have a job anymore, fuck it, fuck you.
I think that as a 16-year-old, his portrayal of his father's
and it's a little biased.
It was probably skewed a bit.
Yeah.
Because, well, the kid is obviously upset and feels like, hey, like, I don't deserve this. I'm working hard for money. And that, like, it's not to discredit that at all. Like, he is well within his understanding, and, you know, I think he's justified in feeling the way he does. But I don't think that the dad is outside of, you know, being able to be like, hey, like, you know, for me, if it were me and I was that dad, I'd be like, no, I'm trying to teach you a lesson, and hey, maybe help out a little bit. It's the same as fucking just doing chores.
Sure,
like, earn your way a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's fair. I just don't like, and again, like, we could only go off of what
off of a 16-year-old's upset post on Reddit.
Yeah.
So you don't know the entire context.
You don't know
that's not to discredit him. Like, maybe his dad did approach it really poorly.
Yeah.
But I know, as a former 16-year-old myself, that had my dad done that, I would have immediately gone and talked some shit about him and been like, my dad is such a dick. Like, he asked me for $5. I worked for that $5. Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fine if the dad's like, you know, occasionally like, hey, can you, like, occasionally set some funds aside so that way you can do this and this and this and blah 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 blah. But I think also, I mean, I think the kid does raise a valid argument of, like, you know, I'm not there, and again, we're going off what he says, a benefit of the doubt, but he said that, you know, I'm not there most of the time anyways, so why do I have to pay for stuff that I don't even use?
Right.
And the dad's reasoning is, well, because I'm your dad and I say so, and because you're working now. And I'm like, that's not a good enough reason.
It's not a good reason. But, I mean, at the same time, he is the parent. I don't know why I'm citing... I don't know. Like, I think it's just about how
I just don't like the approach.
My relationship has evolved with my dad.
Yeah, my problem is just the approach of it. Is that for me...
The assumed.
For the assumed approach. Like, again, I don't think it's... I would honestly agree with you, and I do agree with you, but I don't think that the approach, based on what this person has posted, I don't think is the right way to do it. And
the approach is not great, but I don't think his dad's...
But I think another thing is that because for what you're saying is that you're like, would you when you have a kid, would you be like, okay, you're 16, 17, 18, whatever, would you tell your kid to go get a job? Like, you need to go get a job.
It's really circumstantial. I would want that for them.
But you wouldn't. Okay, but you would at least, like, you would suggest it. Be like, hey, maybe you should do something. You say it nicer than that.
I would hope that my kid is much more driven than I was, because I was like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go anywhere. I can be in my house until I'm almost 21 and then move out. Like, I was 21 years old when I moved out of my dad's house. And, like, that being said, like, I have a really good relationship with my dad. And, like, I didn't have a need to move out. Like, my dad provided everything for me, and it was really awesome. Like, I got home-cooked meals all the time. And you know what I miss about living with my fucking parents? Is really good home-cooked meals.
Yeah.
It was the best. Because, like, I have to fend for myself. That sucks.
Yeah.
To a certain degree.
Sure,
I genuinely hate it. But, like, for me, I would want my children to have a better
initiative
drive than I do.
Yeah, more initiative. Sure.
Okay. Like, I was a dick, but no. At the same time, like, when you think about it, you wouldn't want your kid to have to go get a job, and you definitely wouldn't want to have to tell them, "Hey, you need to go do this." It's more of it's more for them than it is for you.
Yeah, for me, I'm of the mindset of like, I would want my child to, certainly have more initiative to go and to earn money and to, get your own stuff. But I don't like the idea of taxing my child simply because I'm a parent. I think my biggest problem is that it feels, from what it sounds like, it just sounds like this parent is taxing their child of like, you're my child, you can work, you now owe me money because I raised you. And that's my biggest problem. That's not how parenting works.
No.
And I think that's really my biggest problem with it. Is just like, again, going benefit of the doubt here, it sounds like the dad is like, I raised you, and now because you can earn money, you have a debt, basically. You're in debt to me now. And that's my problem.
my dad kind of phrased it that way,
yeah.
in all honesty, but like, I don't think that he was, his approach was bad, but he wasn't wrong.
Sure. But yeah,
like your child doesn't owe you anything, but they should have respect and understanding for what they did for you.
Yeah, they should have enough respect and understanding to give back. Is the thing. They don't owe you anything, but they should have enough respect. Yeah, I did. I saw that. That they should have enough respect for you to give back to you.
Yeah.
Is the thing. And and I feel like, and so I would say that I would honestly, for me, I'm in the boat of. I'm siding with the kid on this one because, like, no, you don't owe your parents anything. Should you give back? Absolutely, you should. But to have a parent say you owe me because I raised you is not okay. That definitely doesn't sit well with me. And that's for me. That's what this sounds like. It's like, I raised you, and therefore you now owe me because I raised you. I'm like, no, I don't owe you for shit. That's where I sit. It's like. The kid, and also it's like, the kid also went out and took the initiative to get a job, because he wanted to buy things for himself, and he liked having money, and he wanted to buy stuff for his girlfriend. And like, those are all valuable reasons. And I don't think it's fair, and to me, it sounds like the dad's like, oh, my kid, essentially, the dad, again, benefit of the doubt, obviously, I'm sure they have a very loving relationship, I'm sure. But it does sort of sound like, the dad kind of sees his kid as no longer a child, and it's like, oh, you now are just a source of income for me now. You're an asset. You're not a family member at this point. And that also kind of bothers me. And
I think that's pretty harsh.
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's a little harsh, and I'm probably reading a little too far into it at this point. But I mean, that's just kind of how I feel. That's how I feel about it. It's just like,
okay, yeah.
Again, you, as a child, you should not have to owe your parents anything.
No, you shouldn't have to.
No, yeah, and you should want to give back and respect, like, for my mom, like, I love my mom. She's a single parent. She raised my sister and I, and she did a whole bunch of shit for even outside of our family.
Right.
And at no point, like, hell, she lets me live at our house rent free.
How am I getting these home stacks?
Where are you standing?
I was further forward than almost anybody.
I mean, are you standing on the outside?
I was on the front half.
Okay.
I know for a fact I was on the front half of that.
But then were you standing on the outside of the map of the arena?
No.
Okay. Well. Okay.
I know how I got the Vuln stack on that one. That was me being dumb, and I was on the front half.
I don't know. But so my mom lets me stay at our house, rent free, while she lives with her partner in Columbus. Like, I'm eternally grateful for my mom, and but at no point has she ever asked me to be like, hey, you need to start paying bills, and you need to start doing this and that, because she knows that, because she trusts me enough to be like, my kid is eventually going to pay me back in other ways because he cares. And
right,
again, I'm at this point, I'm definitely reading too far into it. But again, it just kind of feels like this dad doesn't trust their kid enough to be like, oh, he's gonna help me eventually. And that's like, come on, man. Like, you raised your kid, and like, you should have enough faith in them. Be like, no, they're gonna help out. Like, they will. Yeah. You shouldn't have to tell your kid to help out. Is, I think, the biggest thing. No, you shouldn't have to do that.
I will play devil's advocate here and be like, if I was 16 again and I had a job, I would not trust myself with how I spent that money.
Fair. That's fair.
You know, like, I definitely wasn't out buying drugs all the thing. Like, when I did have money, what I was spending my money on was going and seeing movies with my friends, or spending way too much money on fast food when I had food at home.
Yeah.
Which was actually a pretty big point of contention between me and my parents. Was like, why do you need money all the time when we have food for you? And it's like, well, I want to be out with my friends. And it's like, yeah, but like, we're already spending money on the food. Why are we spending more money on food? Like, for me, it's like, it's in hindsight that I'm coming at this. I think that I'm like coming at it as, I experienced this pretty severely, and I have an understanding.
Yeah, and I'm coming at this of, I didn't experience this.
Yeah. My dad and I had talks about stuff like this, and like, it, not to like a serious degree, but he definitely like probably needed some help, and I never gave it to him. And as a result of that, like, initially I really resented my dad. I thought he was being a huge jackal. It's like, why would you, like, it's not my job to make sure that you can keep the house going. You're the parent. It's like, yeah, but like,
yeah,
sometimes people just go through it sometimes. Everyone needs help. I mean, and even if it's like, even if it's not like that my $100 is going to be able to help him out, but it's the thought, you know, or just that little bit. It's like, thank you, I appreciate it. Like, you didn't need to do this, and it probably would make him feel just that little bit better, you know. I wish I had been able to do more for my dad. Like, I really do.
Yeah. And that's fair. But again, do you feel obligated to help him?
Kind of.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I was not super good to him, so I feel.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. But like, I mean, like, yeah. I guess obligated is the wrong word. It's like, but you're not. How do I want to phrase this? You don't feel like. I don't know how to phrase this properly. You want to help. Like, you want to help. You want to. You genuinely want to help. You're not doing. I guess it's like you're not doing this because you're like, if I do this, then he has to do something for me. It's not like a. It's not like a.
No.
Yeah. Like,
but I mean, I will say, back in the day, I did not want to help.
Right.
I didn't want to have anything to do with my dad.
Sure. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. Thank you, Esper. It's not forced.
Yeah.
You're not forced to help. Whereas this post, it sounds like he's forced to help because he has a job now.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have. And Esper also brings up a really good point. And she says, reminds me of my little brother when my mom was like, okay, you have a job now, you're paying for your phone, car insurance, gas, etc., and he was pissed. And to that, it does, it like, that is, for those things, I would say it's like, I would be in the contention of like, yeah, but he's using all those things. Like, it makes sense because he's using them all.
Yeah, those are all his things.
Yeah, and like, thankfully, my mom didn't do that for me. Again, like, I will say now that there are there are so many things that I don't have to pay for that if my mom said you have to pay for them, one, I would completely understand, but I would be flat ass broke right now.
Yeah.
I would be so fucking poor. But you know, but in this post again, the OP does say that you know he argues, you know, why do I have to pay for this stuff even though I'm not there? And again, the dad's argument is because I'm your dad and I raised you and now you owe me. And I'm like, well, no, that's not how this works. And again, that to me, that's the problem that I have. It's like I won't blame the kid for being like, why do I have to pay for stuff that I don't technically use, just because I have money now.
And that's a fair criticism. That's a very fair criticism.
Yeah, and I think that's the side that I land on.
I will say, like, I was really lucky. My dad never took care of my phone bill. My grandparents did. But my dad did take care of my health insurance, and my grandparents took care of my... I was not on my own car insurance for the first couple years I had my car.
Low-key, I'm still not on my own car insurance, low-key.
But
so, I mean,
I eventually
like, this argument, I don't really have a whole say in it because I still have my mom still does pay for a lot of my stuff, so I don't really have an argument here, honestly.
I think when I was 24, I had to switch to my own health insurance, which was a little terrifying because I didn't know how to do that, and I didn't know how much it was. But the reason that I had to switch was because when my dad was paying for it, it was like $400 a month having me on it. And now my health insurance is $120, like maybe $132 a month through my work, which is really cool and really cheap and fairly good. It's not the best health insurance out there, but it's pretty good. And like in that case, I was like, no, like it's totally fine. I don't blame you. Like $400 is way too much. I wouldn't even pay $400 a month to save my own life. So I get it. But and the same kind of went with my phone bill. When my grandparents were paying for it, it just, like, the prices just jumped up a lot, and I don't know why, but they did. And they're like, hey, we need you to get on your own. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, Esprit also does make a very good point where she says that my mom's view on it was once we got a full job, i.e. not like part-time stuff that we used to do, we'd have to pay for the things we wanted to help us start to learn how to budget and finance the things we want while paying bills. And I think that's fine. Budgeting and budgeting like that, that's fine. But again, going from this post, it doesn't sound like the dad is teaching the son how to budget. It sounds like, hey, pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Like pay your child tax, which sucks.
Child tax.
Yeah. Pay the tax.
What'd you roll on the black one?
77.
Ha!
Fuck.
I will beat you.
Damn it! I'm angry now. Well, that's upsetting. Yeah, and I think but that's the problem that I have. It's like teaching your kid how to budget stuff is one thing. Asking your kid, hey, I'm your parent, pay me taxes is another thing.
Right.
Extortion, that's it. It sounds like extortion.
I got it!
Ah, fuck you. Fuck off.
Hey!
God damn it. The one time I rolled high and I fucking lose that. What'd you roll?
84.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough. I was gonna win that one.
Yeah, if I was like one above you, I would have laughed so hard.
I wasn't gonna win that. Absolutely not.
Oh. I got it.
I did have a friend who basically handed over her entire paycheck to her mother as soon as she got paid, not willingly. See, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
that's fucked up. That's super fucked up. So, Yeah, so I'm in the boat of, like, I don't think the kid's an asshole. I think you should definitely, you know, contribute, but you should want to contribute because your parents raised you. But I don't think it's fair to be told, hey, just because you have a job now, you have to pay stuff for our family. And I'm like, okay, no. All right, we'll do one more while we do one more raid just to round things out. We'll do one more. We'll do one more raid, and then I have, like, I think 3 to 4 more to get through if we need to, so.
Okay.
Alright. Am I the asshole for getting mad at my friend for wanting to date my other friend? I was friends with this girl, Ashley. I cut Ashley out of my life because she was toxic, self-centered, and would put me down and act superior. She messaged me apologizing and wanted to be friends again. I decided to give her another chance. When I was going to meet up with her, my friend Mike wanted to do something. I invited him to eat with us. The whole time, Ashley was putting me down, insulting my ex-boyfriend, calling me dumb, talking about her ex nonstop. Mike noticed and said that's fucked up. He also asked me to set him up with her. my point already, that's fucked up. I said no, I'm not getting involved, and told him her ex just got a restraining order against her. She's crazy. He said thanks for telling me, I won't go for her. Anyways, after he said that, Ashley messaged me saying Mike has been trying to contact her nonstop. Now I felt he was shady and a liar. I confronted him and said he's not on my side and there was no reason to be shady. He said I'm overthinking it. Am I the asshole for cutting Mike out for going for Ashley?
No, that's shady as fuck.
That's super, yeah. Like, I'm picking up real sketch vibes from that. That's so weird. That's fucking weird, man. Like, what the actual hell?
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah, it's like, that's fucked up. Like, that's so, nah, man, I'm out. Nah, bro, I'm out on that one. Alright. Next, am I the asshole for not wanting to attend my biological father's family and attend his funeral? A few years ago, I took an ancestry DNA test and I found out that the person who I believed was my father, T, was actually not. Now, T wasn't around much anyway, but I developed a long-distance familial relationship with his daughters, and I considered my sisters. I am an otherwise only child and clung to this. I also fully believed I was Native American through their bloodline. Anyway, my mother didn't want me to get the test originally, and we can figure why. I wasn't a match with my sisters or anyone on T's side. After this fact, she told me that there's a chance someone else is my biological father, D. And sure enough, I had matches with other members of D's family. Come to find out, the D had claimed me basically my whole life, and my mother blew it off. D tried to reach out to me, and we became friends on Facebook, but he had a severe alcohol problem and liver was failing, so we didn't talk much, but my mother began to talk to him every day and pressure me into meeting him, getting to the point that she even offered to hospice the guy, all basically behind my back, but I am not against being helpful in a time of need no matter who it is. After a while, I felt bad he was dying, and if he wanted to meet me, then I can give him that opportunity, but literally days before this was supposed to happen, he passed away. Since then, my mother talks to D's whole family now, had his son reach out to me, even asked for ashes. I find this incredibly invasive, and I want nothing to do with it. I don't know these people, they are throwing a celebration of life, and I don't want to go, besides the fact I made other concrete plans before I knew about this anyway. My mother continues visiting with these people, talking with them, and all this crap, when I have expressed multiple times I am not comfortable with it. She says I owe it to them because they are family. I believe this is all extremely inappropriate of her. Am I the asshole for not wanting to attend the biological father I never knew's celebration of life and meeting his family?
Their reasoning? Ooh. Okay, they're not an asshole for not wanting to go. Their reasoning is very asshole. It's more like the wording. That is just awful.
Yeah.
But like, if you had like really no real connection with this person, even if you knew they were your actual parent, and you only just started to get into contact with them, and then they die all of a sudden, like, I don't blame you. Like, you don't know them, but like treating them like, oh, they're just a bunch of strangers invading my life. It's like,
yeah, like treating them as like a nuisance is kind of like, come on, man.
That's really dumb.
Yeah.
So no, you're not an asshole for not wanting to go. You're just an asshole.
You're just a terrible person in general.
Yeah, you're just an asshole.
Fun fact.
Like, if my mom passed away, I would not go to her funeral.
God.
And like, because I don't know her.
Yeah, honestly, like, if my parents are divorced. They've been divorced since as far as I can remember, and my dad has not. He honestly just hasn't been around. Like, he'll send, when I was younger, he would send like gifts and stuff like that, and like write a check for my birthday, which he still does now. But that was the extent of it. He didn't really try to reach out and do stuff with me. To which, for me, I look back on it and I'm just kind of like, I don't have a dad. And that sounds kind of harsh, but at the same time, I'm like, you're not my parent. You're just a guy that I knew, or that I know. Yeah. Like, honestly, honestly, it's like, if my dad passed away, I really don't know if I would attend his funeral, to be completely honest. I think it's like, I was invited to it. Maybe I do it out of respect, but like, I wouldn't do anything past that. Like, if my family was like, oh, you should say some words about him, like what?
Fuck that.
Say what?
Say what? He was
there, and even when he wasn't there, he was somewhere else. Like,
yeah.
What do I say? Like,
the only things I know about my mom are all negative. So if I were to go, I'd be like, yeah, I heard some pretty bad shit. I'm sure that any of you would be able to tell me one way or the other, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's the conversation.
And that's also just not something that you would want to say. Like, I would have respect, but I think I would want my version of respect would be, yeah, I have enough respect to not go.
Yeah. This is like, instead of peeking behind the curtain, this is me taking the curtain and just like really peeling it back.
Shit.
But actually, I found out a few years ago, I don't even know how long it was. I think it was probably when I was in college. Might have been right when I near when I graduated high school, getting ready to go to college. But my dad had I guess he had some sort of rare, like, heart disease thing. He's doing better, fun fact. But, like, there were several points where I probably could have visited him, and I just straight up didn't. Because I'm like, again, I don't know this person.
Yeah.
Like, they're just there.
In being in a similar boat, like, dude, I don't blame you, like, at all. Like, I don't think you have any reason, like, not that you do, but, like, if anybody tried to guilt you trip you,
it's
like,
just
no,
like, why should I?
Like, is it sad that another human being, especially somebody who, like, is your father, has medical issues, especially something as serious as that?
Yeah.
That is like the extent of it. That's how I would see it. It's like, I'm just sad that somebody is that sick, especially somebody who is technically related to me.
Yeah, there's the show Glee. I used to watch it a lot when I was younger, because reasons. But there's an episode where,
because we're gamers.
Yeah, because we're gamers. But there was an episode in Glee where I don't even remember what her name is, but like the main female character, she has two gay dads. Rachel, is that her name?
Yes.
Okay, Rachel. She has two gay dads.
I've watched Glee too.
All right. She has
like
two gay dads, and she finds out, like, obviously she was conceived somehow. Obviously, she has two gay dads, and she was conceived somehow. And I guess she finds out that, I can't remember what exactly it is, but, like, either, like, she had, like, a surrogate mom, or, one of the dads,
her mom gave her up for adoption.
Oh, was that it?
Her mom, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think the dad. I don't think either of her gay dads are actually related.
Okay. But
I
so
don't
but,
believe.
Okay, but regardless, there's a line though from the mom where she says, what'd she say? Oh, I'm your mother, but I'm not your mom.
Yeah.
And like that's how I feel. It's like sure, he is my father, but he's not my dad though. And there's a difference.
I have said the same thing about because like when I refer to, why did I do that? I just pulled two things.
Yeah, you're fine.
Anyway, yeah. So when I say my mom, and people a lot, anybody in my life knows my situation. I'm referring to my stepmom because she is my mom.
Yeah.
Like, for all intents and purposes, she has been around the longest. Like, and she's married to my dad, and her daughters are my sisters. Like, she's my mom. I still call her Carrie, but that's more out of habit. And like, I never called anybody mom. And then all of a sudden, starting that, it's just weird.
It's
for
weird,
me.
right?
Like, I have called her mom before.
Same.
I refer to her as such.
Yeah, if my mom married her partner, I would not call him my dad ever. It's just that like being an adult now. It's just weird.
Yeah,
it's
they
really
got
just
married
weird.
when I was 20.
Yeah, like sure, I'm sure it would like mean a lot to them, but at the same time, I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that ship sailed.
When did you meet him? Because I met my mom when I was 12.
Like your stepmom or
My stepmom.
I've known my mom's partner Tom. I've met him probably sometime around high school. Was when they were like.
Okay. You haven't known him for 15 years.
No, yeah, I've known
than
him
half
for,
your life.
Yeah, I've known him for maybe like 8 years. Probably.
Okay.
And even then,
That's
like
still
even
a
in high
significant
school,
amount
I
of
didn't.
time.
Yeah, I mean, like even in high school, I didn't see him a whole lot. Primarily because, funny enough, my mom and Tom tried to keep their relationship really secret when I was in high school, and by secret I mean they would like my mom would be like, "Hey, do you want to like not come home for a couple hours?"
Nice. Dude, I wish my dad had been secret about it. The amount of times that I came home and I heard stuff, I'm like, I don't know if I ever told you this. I had a really close friend, and her parents disappeared. Like, pretty much, her dad just up and left at a certain point in her life, and her mom got remarried. And her mom essentially let her have her house since she was 15. Like, she lived on her own. Actually, maybe even earlier than that. I think she lived on her own since she was 14.
Wow.
And so I always used to go and hang out with her because, like, she didn't always have somebody to hang out with. And I didn't have a great relationship with my dad in high school. So one day, I came home and I heard stuff going on, and I'm like, "Hey, Karen, you busy with literally anything? I will go anywhere else but where I am right now." She's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to Krispy Kreme. I had a bad day." I'm like, "I am sorry.
Perfect.
We'll talk about it."
See, so like my mom was like, she would be not so subtly tell me to like not come home. The problem was with that is that, again, she thought she was being really clever, but obviously, like, I know what's going on. Like, we all know what's going on. We just don't talk about it.
Right.
But unfortunately, I would be the guy that'd be like, I would message my friends like, "Hey, are you doing anything? You want to hang out?" And unfortunately, they're like, "Dude, you gotta tell your mom to stop fucking." Like, essentially, they're like, "Yeah, we can't. Unfortunately, this is happening too often. You need to set some ground rules for your mom." And I'm like, fuck. Now
No.
they know.
It's like, what's the point of having friends if you can't just go hang out with them willy-nilly for absolutely no reason at all?
Yeah, for no ulterior motives at all whatsoever. But yeah, that being said, like, yeah, if my if my mom remarried, she won't. But if she did, nah, that's just not gonna happen. Like, I'm not. He's still gonna be Tom to me, and I'm like, cool, good talk, buddy.
Yeah.
Now I do have a friend. One of my closest friends from high school. His now wife. She had a similar situation where her and her dad were estranged, and her mom remarried, and so, you know, I believe she considers her stepdad as her dad, but she is on speaking terms with her actual dad, her father. And, you know, I remember there was a point where we were talking one day, actually, and she's like, do you think that you would ever try to reconnect with your actual father? And I remember looking at her and telling her, and be like, honestly, I don't think so. I don't think I would want to. Because it's a weird situation where it's like, if I ever actually saw him again, I don't know what I would say. Like, I don't, like, I really can't, in my head, I can't imagine what I would feel. Like, I feel like the general reaction is, you know, oh, I'm so glad to be reconnected like this, but at the same time, honestly, I think I'd be pissed. I think I'd get angry, honestly. And we were talking about this, and people who know me know that I am not an angry person. I get annoyed, I get frustrated, but very, very, like, 0.01% of the time would you ever see me get mad. Because I've definitely been known, because, like, I think my friends in high school have only seen me get angry twice in my life. And it's because of anytime I get angry, I get violent. And, like, I'll, like, to the point where, like, I'll literally black out, and I'll just go on a spree of, like, wanting to fight and just beat up anything that I can find. No, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Again, like, 0.01% of the time is I'll get angry. And I've only, I think, ever gotten angry in my life like that. That's only ever happened to me probably twice in my life.
Damn.
Because I try to do a very good job as to, like, bring it back. Because I know that it's not a good thing for anybody.
No.
I think the most telling time was, there was one point I don't even remember why I was mad. It was in high school. I just remember being so mad about something and, like, so angry. I remember I kicked a locker door and I put a dent in it. And the moment I came, and I did this, like, to 3 other lockers. And I remember coming out of it and calming down, and I go, what just happened? And I just remember seeing the look of, like, sheer terror at all of my friends, be like, and I looked, and I remember looking at the locker, and I go, what happened to the lockers? And they're like, you happened to the lockers.
Why is my foot hurt?
And that's exactly it. That was exactly it. I was like, what happened to the lockers, and why does my foot hurt? And they're like, holy shit.
Don't
okay,
fuck with Maxwell.
We should definitely never fuck with him.
See,
yeah.
As an actual angry person who is angry a lot, I have had to learn how to channel my anger in different ways. Like, I learned that being angry and being physical really hurts.
Yeah, not
so
great.
Probably
Not
best
great.
not to do that. Like, and I it's not that I don't, and I always feel bad. Like, I may be an angry person, but I am quick to remorse, and for the most part, I like to think that I am quick to apologize. Like, I am stubborn as shit, but I don't want to upset anybody. Like, I don't want to be an asshole. I just am. And it's not something that I can always control. Like, I just snap sometimes, and I will almost always be like, hey, I'm sorry, I just needed a minute, and, like, I hope that you can accept that I wasn't genuinely mad at you or something. Because I've had that with you before. Like, hey, sorry, I know I was being a dick, my apologies.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of thing. Yeah, and, like, it's if I were to meet my mom again, I feel like I would be in the same boat. Like, I would be irrationally angry.
Same.
But there'd be nothing that I could do.
Yeah,
like,
same.
Had I been, like, 10 and my mom came back or wanted to reconnect, I would have a bajillion questions.
Man.
But I'm at a point where it's like, I'm 27.
Yeah.
Any of the questions that I had when I was 10, I no longer have anymore, or at least I just don't care about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I have answers, or I just don't care about her answers. Like, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, I'm beyond an adult now. Like,
yeah.
I can take care of. I pay my bills. I take care of 2 cats that I own. I have.
You have your own children, per se.
Yeah, I have a relationship that, like, there are so many things. Like, reconnecting with my mom will just take away from all of the time that I barely spend doing those. Like, or that I need to focus more on spending. Those things mean a lot to me. Diverting my attention elsewhere, especially in something that I would not feel comfortable even doing, would just be a bad idea. Mm. Yeah. If like my dad had disappeared, and knowing how angry I get about my stuff, and I would probably punch the guy. Like, if my dad had disappeared and then wanted to reconnect, I would probably punch him. Be like, what the f*** are you doing?
Yeah, same. I think, I mean, that's basically how my dad is. Is like, he left our family, and then, if he came back and be like, hey, I want to connect, and I'd be like, I don't know you. You're a stranger to me, honestly, truly. And sure, that's not the nicest thing to say, obviously, but at the same time, it's the truth. It's one of those things where it's like,
what else do you expect?
I knew a bunch of people in college that were like, they do something and they're in the wrong, and they're like, oh, I apologize, will you forgive me? And like, they don't get forgiven, and like, I don't know why they're still mad at me. I said sorry, like, they should forgive me. And I go, well, think of it this way: when you smash a plate on the ground and it shatters, and then you say sorry to it, does that fix the plate?
Yeah, that's
no, it stays broken.
Yeah,
like, that's the whole point.
You got angry enough to the point where you thought destroying something would be the best option, and it's like, well, I tried to make it better.
Yeah.
Did you take glue to it? And like,
but did you really
how
try?
Hard did you really try?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for sure, like, I remember being asked that from my friend, and I'm like, yeah, you saw your dad, and what would you say to him? And I go, I don't know, I really don't. I think I'd probably hit him. I don't think I'd stop either. That's the problem. That's the issue, is that I don't want to. I don't want to see him for my safety. I don't want to see him for his safety.
I had this coworker, and she had some pretty funny quotes. She's from Tennessee, which is very different from out here on the West Coast, and like, it was kind of an interesting comparison between the two cultures. Even though we're both Americans, it's just crazy different how things are between here and there. And she had a really, really funny line that we used to quote much more often than we do, but it's like, it was like, I believe in Jesus, or I'm a woman of God, but these hands work. Which has always stuck with me. It's like, dude.
That just
I
reminds
think she was talking about some girl.
That just reminds me of the meme of like, I'm a healer, but Cock's gun.
Yep. I'm a healer. Oh, come on.
Alright. I get to the last one here. Okay. This is, am I the asshole for refusing to help my sister? I also didn't read this one. Again, went off the title. Sounded interesting.
Okay.
My mom asked me if I could dye her... Okay, so basically, I regularly dye my mom's... Basically, I, 16 female, learned how to dye my eyebrows, and I regularly dye my mom's, 40 female. My mom asked me if I could dye her eyebrows, and I said sure. Then my sister, 18 female, asked for hers done. I said no, because the first time I had done them, she got upset, The first time I had done them, she got upset, saying I rushed them and did a bad job. She ended up liking them after, like, a day when they faded a bit. The next time I did them, I don't remember if she made a big deal about it or not. This has been a running behavior of my sister, freaking out when I do something for her, then liking it shortly after. My mom then said that she asked so little of me that I should just be nice and do this, but I said that I didn't want to end up being the bad person for her not liking it, and I would still do my mom's since she wasn't the one being stressful. She eventually said I'm disrespectful and too sensitive and rude, as well as made me pay for my $120 hair appointment from that morning as punishment for my behavior. I then called her disrespectful for forcing me to do something, even though I know I'm going to get fussed at. I ended up paying her, then going to my room. I can hear her talking about how rude and stubborn I am, and so I don't know if I should just apologize. TLDR, my mom didn't like that I wouldn't do something for my sister, who has a tendency of being unappreciative, then made me pay $120 for my hair appointment and called me disrespectful.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I know people like that, and I have cut those people out of my life.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth it. It really isn't.
I have a pretty great relationship with sisters, and like, trying to think, I can't be like, oh yeah, my sisters and I have totally done that. Like, no, like, we respect each other, and like, if something gets messed up with one of us, I don't think anyone's gonna, like, really pitch a fit. We're all respectful enough of each other, so yeah, I can't really bring my own 2 cents into this. I just, like, that just seems okay.
I mean, I think would say that the poster is not the asshole in this because of the fact that it's a recurring trend from what it sounds like. Yeah, and I think it's one of the things where it's like, fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me. Like, she knows. It's like, it's not
right.
Like, she knows that the sister is going to get mad and then end up liking it. And then, like, that sort of stress. I think she said that she's 16, right? Yeah,
mm-hmm.
The poster's 16, and like, when you get older, that sort of stress like that, it's not worth it. It's 100% not worth it.
No.
Family or not, it's just not.
I know what's gonna happen, and I don't want to deal with it. It's like, no one's gonna blame you.
Yeah,
like,
and it's like, and I think the mom, as a punishment, doing that, I mean, like, that's kind of inconsequential. But I don't think it's fair for the mom to be like, oh, you're being so disrespectful. She doesn't like ask for much and stuff like that. I'm like, no.
Well, she's already asked for it twice.
Yeah.
And then complained.
Yeah. And it's like, that's just like, no.
That's already
absolutely not. Yeah. Like, if anything, I think the mom's the asshole for not noticing or just being ignorant to it.
Well, I mean, maybe it's like the older one is the problem child, and the 16-year-old is the one that is able to actually do stuff or whatever. Because, like, I know that my... Ooh, wow. Dude, server ticks 8. Look how far I died! I am on this side!
Yeah. I mean, you gotta be faster, man. You gotta be faster.
I'm literally on the other side.
Gotta go fast, man!
Anyway.
Just gotta have that better reaction time.
My sisters didn't always have a super strong between each other. And, you know, there was a point of contention for both of them. And, so from that perspective, I can, like, I get it. The younger one is probably like, hey, like, why should I have to do something? She's like, what, we don't know. Again, this is all like speculation. Yeah. So maybe the sister, like, why should the younger sister want to do anything? What has the older sister ever done for her.
I don't think that's really like, I don't think that's a major point in this argument though.
No. But like, when it does end up like coming down to that internally.
Okay.
You know, especially if, like, the parent won't know that, or probably won't think about that. So it's like, it's just a little thing, but it's like, well, the older sister is coming to the younger sister because the younger sister has something that the older sister can't do.
Right.
So it's like, what has that older sister done to be like, hey, aside from complain, to be like, yeah, no, I'm willing to try it again. Like, were you kind about asking, or did you go straight to your mom and then complain? Because you're like, oh, the little sister won't help me because I was a bitch the last 2 times. Like, no shit, she doesn't want to help you. I wouldn't want to help you.
I also feel like if you're gonna say anyone's ungrateful, I would think it would be the older sister for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's like, again,
It has literally proven twice that they were ungrateful.
Yeah, and then also that eventually it's like, she'll be like, oh, you did such a terrible job, and then the next day it's like, oh, these are great, these are awesome. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Oh, I don't like what you did. It's like, did you do it? Then don't, like...
Yeah, like you can...
Even on my worst haircuts, I'm like, I mean, I didn't cut my hair, so why am I that upset?
Yeah, but even still, it's like, you can complain, you can be like, oh, this is terrible. Sure, you have every right to say that. You have every right to be like, oh, this person did such a terrible job. I would assume you didn't say it to their face, but even still, you have every right to say that. You have every right to feel that way. But to then go a 180, being like, oh, I love this. I go there to them all the time. It's like, what? That's so hypocritical. Like, wait, hold on, stop. Back up for a hot second. Something's not right here.
People are strange. I mean, I will say, I've done that before. Like, I've gotten a haircut that I was like, ooh, I'm not a fan of this.
Sure.
And then, like, you know, a day or 2 later, I'm like, nah, I'm kind of feeling this.
Right,
like, it's
but
better.
have you done it twice in a row?
No.
That's the thing. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, and, like, one of the other things that is kind of overlooked, especially about situations like that, because those are not isolated incidents, is like, how often will somebody complain about something like that, and then someone gives them a compliment on it? They're like, oh no, like, these are actually amazing, like, I actually love them. And it's like, you're only saying that now because somebody complimented you on it. Until just now, you're doing it for the attention. Yeah, and that's super messed up. Yeah. Like, man, just be nice.
Just stop it. All right, this is the last one, and I actually really like this one. I think this one's very interesting. Am I the asshole for making my daughter watch a bully documentary after hearing her comments during a video game? So this happened a few days ago. I was overhearing my daughter's conversation with whoever she was playing with online, and I realized she was making rude personal comments to a kid she plays with online named Lucky. She was calling him names and other obscenities, so when I heard it, I told her to come see me when she was done, but her cousin and Lucky heard me say it in a stern voice and manner. I told her that what she was doing wasn't right. Calling people out of their name isn't the way I raised her, and she said she was only doing it because her cousin, who was playing with them at the same time, was doing it. So I sat her down and we watched a documentary called Bully. I explained to her that I was bullied in elementary and junior high until high school. I became a little more popular because of sports, but I never let it get to me. I took care of those who were picked on in high school, and they became friends with myself and the other metalheads. And that bullying is not something I will tolerate because that is out of character in her part. My daughter said I embarrassed her in front of her friends and cousin. I was just trying to have my daughter understand that it's not right to treat people that way, especially just because a family member was doing it and she was just trying to fit in. So am I the asshole here?
No.
I would also say no. That is like
100%.
Yeah.
Like, no way.
I want to go on record and say I'm not about beating your kids. That's definitely not a thing that you should do. But like at this point, if this daughter's gonna be acting up like that, I'm like,
throwing some hands.
Girl, you gonna learn today.
You gonna learn today. Yeah, like, I don't believe in corporal punishment, but like, some people learn better that way.
Yeah, there are some instances.
Is that bad?
I don't think so. I think it's a normal reaction. I would say that it's like, I don't believe in corporal punishment, but I do feel like there are some people who definitely deserve it.
Yeah. I'll agree with that.
Like, that's where I'm at. It's like, I don't believe in it, but there are some people I see that I'm like, you deserve to be hit.
Whatever.
For sure.
Okay, I get that I pulled, but like, bro, you weren't pulling.
Which one are you even attacking?
The one at the back, because I couldn't find you.
Oh, that's awkward. Yeah, I was up in the on the right.
Yeah, he never provoked.
That's awkward.
Fine. It died really quick.
Yeah, it works out. But yeah, I don't think. I think that honestly, I think that mom's doing good parenting. I think that mom's doing good parenting, and it's a shame that daughter is not learning.
Is it embarrassing? Yes.
Absolutely.
Does that mean that the lesson is wrong? Hell
yeah.
no.
I think if anything, if it is embarrassing, that should be the point. Like, that's the point.
You you should be embarrassed about yourself.
Yeah.
That your mom has to be like, hey, be a decent human being, don't call somebody names. Like, you should be embarrassed for yourself. You shouldn't be embarrassed that you're, like, oh, well, my cousin said I could do it. Like, your cousin smoked crack. Are you gonna smoke crack?
Well, that's a poor argument. I don't like that argument just because it's like, for me, a lot of my friends in high school are good people. They're also smarter than me. And so I remember one time my mom's like, if your friends jumped off a building, would you do it? And I go, probably yeah, because they're a lot smarter than I am. Like, they probably know something's up, and I'm just too oblivious to know what's going on. So yeah, I would trust them. Like, I would trust my friends.
Well, okay, so there's, I actually do think that at least the drug analogy works better than the bridge analogy.
Yeah, the drug analogy. Works,
because, like, there is almost no case where doing drugs is the better idea. Yeah. And there is no case where calling someone a name, or I'm assuming the way that she phrased it was probably like a racial thing.
Probably some sort of slur.
Is in any way okay.
Yeah.
So, like, not gonna lie. Also, I love myself way too much to jump off of a bridge, even if my friends were doing it. But that's just because
you're just not living, my guy.
Yeah. Well, I want to. I want to just keep doing what I'm doing. I don't want to do what they're doing.
You're just not having a good time.
I would just be like, man, now I feel bad. Also, that Bard's bow looks fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, that's the Shadowbringer's relic bow.
That's dope.
Yeah. I'm currently working on the Dark Knight, Astro, and Dancer ones. I'll put a video in the 14 chat to show you all of them. They're really pretty. One of my friends is like, they're super ugly. I'm like, they're gorgeous. What are you talking about?
Dude, I swear to God, we always get Alliance C.
It seems that way. Oh, if I win this, I don't even know, man. I'll be shocked. I rolled a 61. I'll just be over the moon happy if I win this. I don't think it's gonna happen though. Oh, God. Yeah, by the way, for those of you listening, I will definitely put a link to all of these posts in the link dump if you want to read them for yourselves. Yeah, I want this to be like a somewhat regular thing when we read these off and just talk about them, because these are fascinating. Like, some of these are absolutely fascinating. There was one that I saw on a TikTok. I can't remember what it is, but it was also like, I read it and I was like, these aren't real people. This is staged. This is fake. Like, there's no way there are people like this. But yeah, I definitely want to try and make this a somewhat sort of regular thing. to maybe just hit like a couple of them, but we'll see how that goes. But I think on that note, guys, that is going to be it for another episode of the C+ podcast. As per usual, I will be putting this up on my YouTube channel in its very edited glory, because it's definitely gonna happen this time, because boy howdy, there was a problem. But yeah, I'll put this up online next week, so be on the lookout for that. But as always, though, my name is Shogun Shin, that is Hex Ginkgo, this has been the C+ podcast, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye, everybody.